Today I'm going to talk to you guys about this. So this is a field recorder, and this is my very first field recorder, which I'm going to be doing a couple of tests on so you guys could get kind of an idea of how the sound sounds and if this field recorder is a good fit for you guys. So this recorder is the Zoom H1N, which is my very first recorder that I'm ever going to be using. I have a couple of mics that I will be testing with this field recorder. So I'm going to use three different kinds of microphones. I'm going to use first the ME1 stereo mic, which is the mic that I'm using right now. Then I'm going to use the wireless Nikon mic, which is the ME1W, which I'm just going to plug one side into this side, and then I'm going to put one of the sides onto my shirt and then see how it sounds. And the last mic that I'm going to plug in is the Lavalier Paulson. What I realized when I first got this microphone, they give you batteries, which are alkaline batteries. I do not recommend putting in alkaline batteries, especially if you're going outside a lot, because the weather and humidity in the batteries will actually make the acid leak out of the batteries. Getting yourself some lithium ion batteries or some kind of nickel hydride batteries, because those do not leak. They have a different kind of metal which is more resistant to weather. So your recording format is the next thing you want to set up. So what I have is 48 kbs to 24 bits. Those are the perfect settings because for 24 bits you have a very big file, so you're able to work with it much more better. And 48 is kind of the frequency that all sound travels that we're used to as viewers or as any kind of person that's listening to someone else. Next is the low cut. So for the low cut, it's going to reduce the amount of background sound or background noise in your videos. So what I set it to is 80 kilohertz. So that's like the minimum or the lowest that you could go. So that's perfect. Next is limiter. So of course you're going to put on a limiter. So what you have is this little dial on top, which helps you turn it, and then you find out how high or how low you want your audio to be. And also at the end you have auto levels, which I do not want to use, because if you use auto levels then it's going to turn off the settings that you have for this dial, and it's going to automatically try to decide what it's going to do or whatever. And if you're going from scene to scene, it's not going to synchronize with your audio that you want to use. So if, let's say I'm recording right now indoors and then I go outside, then it's going to be a completely different kind of scene, and it's going to mess up the audio levels for this file. This microphone only takes micro SD cards, so if you have any full-size SD cards, it's not going to work. Also, on top of that, when I put in a 128 gigabyte SD card, it did not work. So what I did instead is I put a 64 gigabyte SD card and it worked fine. So make sure you don't put in too high of a field recording SD card because it doesn't require that much. So the recording time for a 32 gigabyte SD card is about 26 hours, so that should be plenty of time. You have probably about a day of or 2 days of actually recording sound. And of course sound isn't as much information as a video like I am right now, because a microphone is a microphone and a video is a video. With this recorder you always have to have headphones with you, because you have to be able to listen to how the recorder is recording the sound, because you don't want the levels to be too high or too low, and you also want to make sure that everything sounds good. And you cannot do that without headphones, because you're actually listening to what's going into the microphone and into the recorder, what's being recorded, and there's no like external where you could actually listen to the sound. So with your external mic, what you're going to do is you're just going to plug it into the line in, which is the red one. Then you're going to plug in your headphones into the line out. You could also be using the external microphones on the actual field recorder itself, which is I think pretty good. I actually did test it a little bit before I went out into the field and tested it. Field recorder has a screw hole on the bottom, so you could actually put it on a tripod, point it at someone, and be able to actually record them directly from the recorder. Or if you just want to keep it in one spot and you don't want to drop it or whatever, then it also works perfectly like that. Anyways, we're just going to test out the mics. Let's just get into it. I'll be over there. Alright, so the first test that I'm actually going to do is actually the microphones on the field recorder, and kind of give you guys the quality test of how the mic is. If you guys don't have any external microphones with you, you could just use the ones that are on the actual Handycam itself or on the field recorder itself. I'm just going to mount it onto this tripod like this, have the microphones pointed directly at me as I'm talking to the camera. The microphone should be able to pick up the speech that I'm saying, and since I'm already facing it from this direction, then it'll be so much easier to just speak to it. Let's just get into it. So Right now we're testing the mic on the field recorder. So right now I did put the headphones into my ear to make sure that the audio levels are good. It did sound good. I just want to know or make sure that the audio levels in post are actually good. I'm not going to edit it at all. It's going to be the way I made it sound. It could be a little bit high, a little bit low, but the thing that we have to watch out for is the background or the little frequencies in the background that might show up onto post. However, we could easily take that out by just lowering the volume and making sure that those little hums stay out of the audio. After this, what we're going to do next is we're going to test the wireless microphones. These are the Nikon wireless mics. So what I really like about these mics is when you put the receiver into the field recorder, you could talk as far or as close you want to the camera and the audio will always be the same. And I really can't wait to test these out because these mics are probably one of my favorites that I have. If I talk over here, then it's going to be the same volume if I talk over here. Let's just get into it. So I'm going to plug in the receiver into the field recorder. I'm going to put on my headphones, make sure that the volume is very good, and just put this side onto my chest over here. Alright, so I was just in Adobe Premiere and I just noticed that I actually messed up on the test. So this is a redo of the test for the wireless microphones. So for the wireless microphones, I actually plugged it into the wrong output on the actual mic itself. I put it into mic. Instead, it should have been into headphones on the wireless mic side. So this is just a redo. And also in the post, I did notice that the lavalier mic and the other mics were a little bit too low. So again, I'm just going to redo this test and just to make sure that everything is the way it's supposed to be. It happens to everyone. Everyone makes mistakes, and I hope this audio is now better so I don't have to go back and redo everything. I could have went with the other audio on the camera itself with the stereo mic, but this is a test for the field recorder and I really want to make sure that everything is the way it's supposed to be. So right now I'm doing the MEW1 mic test. I'm hoping it sounds good. I'm going to plug in the lavalier mic now into it one more time, make sure it actually does sound better. So this is the lavalier mic. Of course, this is a long wire. So you use a wireless mic so that way you don't have to have a microphone from the field recorder and you don't know where it might be. It might be 100 feet away, 200 feet away, or might be 10 feet away, or it might be in your pocket and it's really annoying. So this is why I like this microphone. So all I gotta do now is just plug this microphone into the mic side. So this was correct earlier. You put it into the mic and you put the microphone onto wherever you want it. So I want it on my shirt right over here. And of course it's off. So what I'm going to do now, which is I'm not going to make the same mistake as last time, is go into the microphone settings and they look a little bit too low. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to raise it up. Mic test. Yep. So right there it sounds or looks a lot better because the microphone, when I plugged it in first, it was very, very low. So right now it should be at a good audio, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to test it and make sure that it is the right sound. So let's just make sure it's at the right levels. So mic test, hello, hello. So right there, yep, it sounds pretty good. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure I'm going to put the SD cards back into my desktop and make sure that the audio is actually the way it's supposed to be, so I don't have to do this 20 times over and over and over again. Again, I'm happy to cut this mistake right away because I just went into editing right away. So again, make sure you have the audio levels, make sure that everything's good, make sure it's maybe a little bit higher than lower, because if it's too low then it's also going to mess up the audio also. I also have one more mic to test, which is the stereo mic. So for the stereo mic, I have it somewhere over here. So when I first tested this mic, I did put on L cut. I really did not like L cut. So when I'm indoors, I always put it on flat. So with flat, it's just going to keep everything, good. L cut, if you're outdoors and it's very windy, then it might muffle the wind a little bit. But however, I am only going to use flat. So I'm just going to plug it in, cut the audio real quick. So originally, again, I did have this mic onto a tripod, but it looks a little bit too high, so I'm going to lower it a little bit. So I'm going to go to 7. Mic test. Yeah, so around 7 is pretty good. So originally, I did have this microphone on my tripod next to this field recorder. However, I'm just really lazy and I don't want to do it again because I already know it works. However, let's find out one more time once we put this microphone or the SD card back into the desktop and see if the audio is as good as it was before. And again, I'm just going to end it with this. If you guys like any of this product, please leave it in the comments below. If you guys want to see this mics test outside, because I was only doing this indoors, leave it in the comments below as well. Leave a like, subscribe. If you guys want to check out any of the product that I'm using in this video, please go check it out. I'll leave Amazon links to the product, and I'll see you guys for the next video. Peace out.
So make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications to get notified for the next Skate for Life video.